What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. Yesterday I saw a video of a group that occupied Panera Bread in New York City.
So what happens if we don't leave?
Everybody to leave the restaurant.
Can I ask you guys a question? Not allowed to ask
We've
you?
closed the business because of this.
Okay. We just wanted to eat. You guys could have just served
We're
us
closed
that.
for business.
Really?
Yep, we're closed for
You
business.
guys closed so early today.
Well, we closed because of it.
They refused to provide their vaccination card. After some discussion back and forth, Panera Bread announced that they were going to close suddenly for business at that moment, and all customers, whether they were showing their proof or not, had to leave. You ask yourself, many people on this channel might already realize that because we've had these discussions in the comments, but maybe share this video with people who don't understand it. Why weren't they arrested? Why did the Panera close down? Because they didn't break any laws. And forget about the protest part of it. Them going into Panera Bread and not showing their papers, they didn't break any laws. They broke a mayoral executive order. The police are not enforcing it. Why are they going to enforce it? What's the consequence for it? It's not a law. And that's going to be the theme of this video. I'm going to talk about the legislative process, and then I'm going to go to Jim Cramer here. I'm going to digress first. I hope this Panera Bread employee understands her own government put her in the position of enforcing this. They just increased her job responsibilities significantly, and the government didn't give her any pay increase. In fact, you're paying them taxes to subject you to this abuse at how much per hour? Y'all better wake up. That's why In-N-Out shut down. We're not putting our employees through this. It's wrong, it's unfair, it's unconstitutional. They were like, we're out. That's how I became an In-N-Out fan. But there's a lot of questions out there about what the government can do and what they can't do. Can the government mandate vaccines? Of course they can. The government can do whatever it wants. It's just a matter of, is it constitutional or not? And even if it isn't constitutional, if no one sues or the checks and balances don't come into place to stop it, then it will stand. I'm going to end with this. Jim Cramer talked about getting a lot of hate for advocating President Eisenhower's view on polio. And he said, how can you live with yourselves for disagreeing with that? Jim sounded a little off in that rant he did the other day, but I hope he's okay because he doesn't sound, something sounds off about him. And he's always been kind of off, but he sounded really off.
The Commonweal was a Commonweal.
And he's gone down this rabbit hole of President Eisenhower.
Now we're engaged in a similar struggle with COVID, and Eisenhower would be aghast.
I don't give a damn what President Eisenhower's view on polio was. That's irrelevant. I don't care what George Washington's view on it was. The founding fathers set in place a system of checks and balances to protect us from them themselves. These deranged psychopath leftists like Jim Cramer, they're purposely, in my opinion, ignoring that any sort of mandate must be passed through the legislative process. For example, we have polio vaccine mandates in schools. All 50 states and the District of Columbia have state laws that require children entering childcare or public schools to have certain vaccination. There is no federal law. It's state law across the board. They were passed through legislation. They weren't done through mayoral, gubernatorial, or presidential emergency powers. Are those laws constitutional? I don't think they are, but who cares? No one cares because largely we don't have any beef with those vaccines. That matters. If people had beef with those, they would sue and then try to get it to the Supreme Court to determine is that constitutional. Remember I said whether it's constitutional or not doesn't matter. It's really the will of the people. Do we have the energy or do we care to even sue to get it there? No, we're fine with them. If something magically changed with the polio vaccine and it was like, wait, this isn't safe or we got questions about it, that would change things. But we're good with it. Are we okay with having to show proof of a polio vaccine to dine into Burger King or Panera Bread or to keep a job? Hell no. You couldn't pass legislation like that, even in blue states right now. No state has passed any legislation mandating COVID vaccines. Everything has been done through this monarchical approach of I'm the mayor, do this. I'm the governor, do this. I'm the president, do this. That's not how this country works. And if it starts working like that, we need to rename it and change it because it's done. People keep pointing to this case, the Supreme Court case in 1905, Jacobson versus Massachusetts. Basically, Massachusetts, they had a $5 fine for everyone, I believe it was 21 or older, who didn't get the smallpox vaccine. I disagree with the ruling, but they ruled on a Massachusetts law. It wasn't a gubernatorial emergency power edict through the health department. Here's a little annotation of it, of the Supreme Court case that upheld the Massachusetts law. A state may enact compulsory vaccination law since the legislator has the discretion to decide whether vaccination is the best way to prevent smallpox and protect public health. The legislator may exempt children from the law without violating the equal protection of rights of adults if the law applies equally among adults. We don't have that in any state right now. So we have to start asking questions. It's been almost 2 years, even in blue states where their brainwashed populace is scared out of their mind. They unequivocally support whatever they're told by politicians. They feel like they work for the politicians they voted for. They still haven't passed laws. It should be easy, right? In California, why does Gavin Newsom still need to extend executive powers? California's a blue state. They believe anything that these public officials say. Just pass the law. Now, I still think it should be challenged and the Supreme Court would still have to rule because I don't think that 1905 ruling is going to stand up. But that's the process that it has to go through. Why haven't they done that? I want to seriously, somebody answer that. Why haven't they gone through? It's been 2 years. Plenty of time. Like, for example, when you look at Kenosha, there was, I believe it came from the mayor, that the Jacob Blake shooting happened. People in the country were whacked out of their mind, didn't wait for facts or whatever. They're rioting. They're protesting, and it's dangerous. It's at night. This isn't really a protest. This is a riot. It's a dangerous situation. So the mayor says, I'm doing a mayoral edict, or the governor, whoever did it, I don't even remember. It's an executive says, you don't go out in Kenosha tonight because it's too dangerous. Is that constitutional? I don't know. I don't think it is. But who cares? It's one night. It's common sense not to be out there. The police can't enforce everything and keep everybody safe. I appreciate them admitting that and saying, if you go out there, it's at your own risk. And people died. That was one night. If the governor or mayor said, for 2 years you can't come out at night in Kenosha, that would be BS. That's not the same thing. But we've got it over for 2 years going on here. That's what's happening. If we don't demand at this point that everything starts going through the legislative process, these power-hungry, insane wackos are on the left are still going to do the same thing. That includes Republicans as well. They're going to do the same thing with climate change, race, gender, religion, whatever the hell warped fake cause that they can think of. And going back to that Panera Bread employee that had to close the store, I want you to think about that as well. Let me know what you think. Take care.
Either way.
No problem.
We went today to Panera Bread, and we demanded to be served, and they did not let us eat inside without our vaccine cards. So we decided to sit down in the seating area, and what happened was the employees ended up calling the cops, and they brought out like 30 cops, and they shut down the entire store, and they closed out the store, and they kicked us out.